What's up? It's your guy Rye here, and I'm bringing you another team showcase episode, but this time I am checking out my friend Swag's team. I have no idea what his team name actually means there, and I'm not going to try to guess, but I know his Discord is Swags, so that's what I'm going to refer to him as. And today we have a Giants team that has no supreme batters, but is still finishing diamond. He showed me, I think it was diamond 3 each of the last 2 weeks, but maybe in the like 250 range, which I think is just a really cool team to look at. There's not a ton of Giants teams at the top. There's a couple of very good ones at the top, but not a ton of them through that diamond level. Um, and again, no supreme batters, which is another, I guess, more rare thing to see. Once you kind of get into that diamond range, you almost always see at least a couple. Um, so let's just jump right into this. Really quickly, Posey triple three Pioneer set, which I kind of mentioned in my team video that I really like Pioneer at the leadoff spot, and he does too. He's bluing Spotlight to try to get something more average OBP focused, but it's a good setup here for what he's got in the leadoff spot for right now. Then we get to this monster of a legend card, Ted Williams, super rare card. I feel like I never really see this card get used much in game. I know that it was only in game, I think, for a short period of time before it's taken out again. He's got Pioneer on this right now, which is not the like meta skill for legend batters right now. It seems to be Contact Master is like the overwhelming preferred skill for legend batters. I have seen some strategists whenever that skill dropped. And I think you occasionally will see something like a bad ball hitter, maybe like a Born to Be a Star, depending on who's using it and what level. But Contact Master is actually what he has in his backup set. He showed me. He's just kind of waiting to see what the new skills look like and what the changes to some of the current skills look like before he decides on how to finish that card. And obviously, the set that he has now is totally fine to use. He's got the 120 speed, which is really nice to have, a lower eye train, which is good with prediction. But just a really, really cool card and just super rare. So I did want to at least highlight that. Then we get into some more of the SIG batters. Here he's got Kevin Mitchell, bad ball hitter 332 again with prediction, which is the it seems to be like the elite skill right now, and he's got it adjusted to 78i for that. So that's more of like a meta aligned card, I would say. Um, Pretty solid left side. He's able to again short the eye a little bit and still get to like a really solid speed number, which helps again with prediction. From what I've seen, at least, speed seems to really do well with prediction, and since you don't really need the eye points, that pairs really well. Then we have this Burks card, which I really like what he did here because it is a 71 base card, um, but it's not super heavy left side. I mean, that would be 72, 79, 72 before the 4-point adjust. So it's not going to be like, that super elite prediction card. I can't even really get to what Mitchell had. It's not really a super crazy good Contact Master card, but he's got Pioneer here, and he paired it with Slugger Instinct, which I actually really like. I mean, I talked about that in my Braves video. I have Slugger on a couple cards, and he's got it up to 164 power, so he's really taking advantage of the high power on this card to kind of maximize what the card's already built to do. And that's what I think is going to be like a recurring theme in this video is he's really taking like some weaker cards, like this Bryant card, for example. It's a 70 base. Again, that's not like a terrible base overall, but it's not those elite, like high-end SIGs that you might see that are like 73, 74, 75 base. And especially whenever you're not, filling in with Supremes, 70 is on the lower end, but he's able to take advantage of the contact on this card, paired that with spray, and get this contact up to 163. So it's almost like identical to this Burke setup, but spray instead of slug. And then the trains are just like con and power are kind of flipped. So that's what I really like about this team and what he's done with it so far is he's taking kind of these cards that aren't super elite and using what they are good at. And here's kind of also another example of it. This I think it's Cepeda is how you say his name. He's a 72 base card, which again isn't terrible, but it's a really balanced card for the most part. It's got a good bit of power, which he does have hard hitter for. But because it's so balanced, he's able to use five tool. He has like a ton of speed on this card, which is cool for defense. And then I think this is what a 93 train, so he's taking advantage of what's a pretty balanced card to get to a 93 train on five tool and throw that in center field, as we can see here for defensive purposes, but still maintain actually a pretty high threshold for slugger at 153. I mean, it's not into those like elite level again. Like that's kind of what we've seen like with no, sorry, it's Mitchell getting to 160. No, it was Burks. I'm sorry, getting to 164 on slug. It's not quite to that level, but he also doesn't quite need it as high because he has hard hitter also adding slug. So anyway, just a really cool setup there. This panic card is a 69 base card, nice, which is obviously not again ideal for getting into these higher level teams of diamond, getting into, potentially getting to master. It's harder and harder to make these lower base cards work, which is why you see so many supremes. But it's also a pretty well balanced card, and so five tool pairs really well here. It's also second base where five tool provides a little bit more of a benefit for defensive purposes. And so he's able to hit what is this a 93? I think 16 and 11 is 27, so that would be 93. Yeah. And he's also kind of shorting eye a little bit. He's only got a six train. He's adding 10 with trainers, which personally I think I would probably swap because he's getting 20 to eye for batter's insight. But it seems to work at least decently well. And then we get into Crawford and the catcher. So really quickly, the catcher, laser beam, crazy field, nothing crazy, and elite fielding there. Crawford, he runs a second elite fielding trainer. He runs a higher field train with 14 to the field trainers. But what is really interesting about this card is he's running ace specialist to pair with five tools. So five tools is obviously pretty standard on shortstops, but the ace specialist is actually giving him some decent offensive output from a card that otherwise would struggle because it's got so much to field with. 78 base field is already really high. He's getting the number one spec train bonus here, so the 12 goes there with the 14 trainers, as I mentioned before. But because his offensive stats are so low, it's actually giving him like a decent bonus with ace specialist to the point where even though he has a second elite fielding trainer, we were looking at his rank stats, and Crawford essentially comes in basically kind of like in between the laser beam catcher and his next worst batter, which I think was Panic. I cannot remember for sure, but it was kind of like in the like almost smack dab like right in the middle. So it wasn't like to the absolute black hole of a batter in the lineup that a catcher with laser beam tends to be, but it also wasn't like a strong batter by any means. It's definitely not to that level, but it seems like this ace specialist at least helps to kind of offset that like loss of a diamond trainer at least a little bit. So I just thought that was kind of really interesting and cool. It's like a cool setup. He's also getting to a 95-5 tool, so he's getting even more field in game. And also, whenever we were talking about this, it's like the loss in offense that he saw was more than offset from the drop to his pitchers' ERAs. So it's just another way to kind of set your team up and take advantage of what a card is already good at. 78 base field, just lean into it even more. So that's what he went with, and it seems to be working. Flipping to the pitcher side, most of his pitchers are pretty meta aligned, but this Gossman I just think is cool to show because it's a 59 break card, but it's I would say it's pretty strong. I guess I would say left side like 77 76 if I'm not counting this 3-point stat adjust is a pretty solid left side number, and then it allows him to hit this bonus that's crazy on this overwhelming pressure because he only needs the +3 to velocity. And we were also looking at this card a little bit, and he only has one break type pitch, and so it seems like because he only has that one, he doesn't quite need to get break nearly as high, and the card still performs really well. It does have a triple three slow starter down boss set, um, but it seems like the 59 base break doesn't hurt the card too bad. And it also, because it's still 70 base, even with that 59, it kind of plays more like a 72, maybe a 73, because he just doesn't need those points. So anyway, just kind of like an interesting setup there as well. And then Seaver, I did want to show this because he has 277 train for pitching coordinator, which Seaver is, I mean, he's a 76 base legend and he has five pitches. So this set actually works really well for Seaver Legend. And I actually have a very similar set on my own Seaver Legend on my Twins team, which I will do a showcase on as well at some point, as a little, I guess, teaser. But um, I wanted to kind of show this that this has actually become, I guess, more popular with these higher base legends. I think I've seen this same setup on like a Maddox legend. I know that Smoltz legend I think is also pretty decent base and has 5 pitches. Um, I haven't seen it on too many of the like 4 or 3 pitch legends. But Seaver being one that has 5, this works really well. I know this works really well because I've seen it, and he showed me as well. It works really well for him. So it's just a cool thing to see that even though it looks crazy with the super low left side, it still is better to max pitching coordinator here, even with this huge drop to location and velo. It works for him. It works for me. I've seen it work for other people, and I think we're going to keep seeing it just because of how strong pitching coordinator is. His bullpen, honestly, there's nothing like crazy, like off meta here. The only thing I was gonna mention here is that he does have the Legend Goose for pitcher's chemistry, which, as we know, adds an additional point to the pitcher's chemistry boost. So it is default 6, by the way, if you're on a non-legend, and it is 7 with a legend for pitcher's chemistry specifically. It is different from batter's chemistry, which is a 7 and an 8 for non-legend and legend. And whenever I was also talking to him, I will show this card. This is his only 3-3-1 set in the bullpen. He also has a Sutter Legend, which has pitcher's chemistry, and he has a bullpen day set on the backup of this Goose. So his plan is to swap Goose to the bullpen day, drop this Rodriguez card, and then bring in the Sutter to take over for pitcher's chemistry. And then the last one I'll show here is this Fingers card, which is a Supreme, but does have this super high base fastball, which pairs really well with Iron Will. So, I mean, most of the Supreme relievers I'm pretty sure have really high base fastball. I know that I have Eckersley and he has really good base fastball. Iron Will does seem to be still pretty meta for the bullpen pitchers. So, again, nothing like crazy, you know, groundbreaking here, but I figured I would just show because it is the one Supreme that's in the lineup. Um, anyway, overall, just a really cool team taking advantage of some weaker SIGs that have some strengths, and it seems to be really working for him. So, like I said, he's gotten into Diamond a couple of times. He's got some good DSTs that I'm sure are giving him a little bit of a boost, but it's still a really strong team overall, and he's got the potential to even go higher with this. I think if he replaced even just maybe 1 or 2 of these SIGs with the higher base cards that are out there, like the Ott SIG I know is out there. I think it's McCovey is one of the really good SIGs as well that he could potentially get, and that's all still avoiding Supremes, but still just getting like some slightly better cards. I think he could keep pushing into like that D2, maybe D1 range, maybe Master. I don't know if I don't know if it's possible without Supremes at all, but I think if anything, he would have the potential to do it because it seems like he knows what he's doing with his team, and he's got some really good cards to build around. So anyway, so I want to say quickly thank you to Swags for letting me do this. Um, if anybody else watching this video, if you have a team that you think would fit really well for what I'm looking for, if you have some crazy sets or some weird trains or trainers that you think would be cool to show off, I mean, please let me know. Drop a comment, hit me up on Discord, whatever. Um, but I look forward to doing more of these. Like I said, I'll have my Twins team at some point that I want to do because it's just a different, not big market team. And I have a couple other teams now lined up after I dropped my first one. I had a bunch of people reach out to me, so I have a couple other teams lined up that I'm excited to show you all. So keep a lookout for those, and I appreciate you all watching. Please leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know if there's anything in particular you want to know about this team, and I'll try to get you an answer if I didn't already cover it. So, anyway, I appreciate you all watching, and I will see you in the next one.